So let's take a look at another continent. So far we've looked at North and South America, Africa, and Asia. So let's look at Europe, shall we? The first country which we'll look at today is Iceland. Now there are many theories regarding Iceland. For example, Iceland is always cold. Now despite the name being Iceland, it's actually quite a nice place. This is what it could look like during the summer. And some popular tourist destinations include Reykjavik, Akureyri, and the Blue Lagoon. Another Icelandic stereotype is that everyone here lives in an igloo. And yes, some people do actually believe this. Igloos are known to be like home-type things in extremely cold climates, but as we've learned in the last stereotype, Iceland is not cold. Iceland has lots of houses and apartments, just like the ones any other country has. The last assumption we'll cover for Iceland is that everyone there has blonde hair. Now, some people have blonde hair in Iceland, but not everyone does. Take famous Icelandic singer Björk, for example, and Stefán Stefánsson. Now, if you don't know who this is, does Robbie Rotten ring a bell? We Are Number One? Both of these people have black hair and are both Icelandic. Now let's take a look at the boot of Europe. That's right, Italy. When most people think of Italy, they most always think of pizza and or pasta. So let's investigate, shall we? Pasta is relatively popular in Italy, with 23.5 kilograms consumed in Italy per year, making it the biggest consumer in Europe. Pizza is also quite popular in Italy. However, these are not the only two foodstuffs available. Each Italian region has their own specialty when it comes to food, and with more than 350 Michelin star restaurants, it would be very hard to live off of just pasta and pizza. Now, the next claim which we'll look at is that every Italian can't go a sentence without doing his hand gesture. But no, this is once again false. Italians have more than 250 gestures to communicate with each other. And finally, for Italy, we'll now debunk the myth that every Italian is or has connections to the mafia. Now, unfortunately for the people that think this is not true. The mafia are more common in the south of Italy, but there are still parts of the mafia found throughout the country. So mafia people do exist in Italy, but it's not the entire population. Not everyone has connections either. Let's take a look at a different country this time, the Netherlands. Now, do you remember in the beginning when we heard, what about the Netherlands? Would you think about the flowers or the windmills? There are a lot of stereotypes regarding the Netherlands, so let's get to breaking some down. So what about the flowers? Well, the flowers that are commonly associated with the Netherlands are tulips. And while yes, the Netherlands is the biggest exporter of this, tulips aren't originally from this country. Tulips were introduced to the Netherlands by Turkey. But just because the Netherlands is the biggest exporter, it doesn't mean that if you drive through the rural countryside, you'll see tulips everywhere. Next stereotype regarding the Netherlands is about the windmills. Through rural countryside, you'll most likely see more windmills than tulips. And windmills are also quite popular all around the country. The reason for this being is that they could pump water out of the lowlands and then back into the rivers for farming purposes. Now, the next hearsay we'll look at about the Netherlands is how most of the land will be underwater soon due to climate change. Now, the Netherlands does have a reputation for being flat. And if we look at a relief map, you'll see that it only really gets mountainous down here. But will they be underwater? Well, the Netherlands already has that under good control, as they rank first in the world for water prevention. Also, many people mistake Holland and the Netherlands to be the same thing, which, no, they're not. The Netherlands is split into 12 different provinces, and there are two called Holland in the Netherlands, North Holland and South Holland. North Holland is home to Amsterdam. However, Amsterdam is not the capital of North Holland. It's actually this place, which is called Haarlem. South Holland is also home to big cities such as The Hague and Rotterdam. And the last Dutch stereotype is that everyone here rides bicycles. Cycling is a common mode of transport. In fact, it's the second most common mode of transport in the Netherlands. For bicycle ownership here, it's roughly 21 million bikes between a total of almost 18 million people. Now let's take a look at Germany. And clothing such as types of lederhosen and dirndl are common here. Or are they? Not usually, no. These types of traditional clothing can be worn at festivals and special events, etc. So whilst the stereotypes might say otherwise, most Germans wear what the average person wears in their everyday life. Again, debunking Germany, people often say that Germans love their cars, and realistically, it's not too far off from the truth. Every German owns a car. 69% admit to loving their own car, and 18% actually have a pet name for their car. Although to most other Germans, the car is just another everyday object. Another German stereotype is that people here drink beer, eat sausages and potatoes. Germans have been known to be fond of beer, but even more prefer wine. In a survey conducted, 57% of Germans would choose wine over beer. And as for food there, they do like sausages, but are also big fans of Italian food and Italian cuisine. But do you blame them? Looking at some of these foods, I can see why the Germans are fond of Italian cuisine. And finally, for Germany, they're commonly stereotyped for being unfriendly, which links in with a bunch of others as well, like that they have no sense of humor, they're boring, and that they're mean people. But once again, we can safely say that this is nonsense, as Germany's history with a particular someone has given them this stereotype of being unfriendly. Germans are almost always friendly, unlike some say. Now we reach the second last country of the video, France. French people have been known to have an interesting fashion choice. Now let's paint a picture of the apparently average French person, shall we? First off, a stripy black and white shirt, and then they're also black jeans. They're on a bicycle with a beret and the incredible French mustache. In one hand they hold a baguette, and in the other the French flag. Or an onion, as weird as it sounds, but it's completely up to you which one you want to put in there. Then, as we see in the background, the Eiffel Tower. But this is all fake. Items of clothing like this were popular many, many years ago. French people have also been given the reputation of being lazy. However, French people work 35 hours a week, which if we're counting the weekdays would average out to about 7 hours per day, so not that lazy at all. Also, according to some people, the French diet mainly just consists of baguettes and snails. Some French people do eat snails and people do eat baguettes, but like Italy, their cuisine isn't just contained in these two products. Some others include French onion soup, tarte tatin, and beef bourguignon. And just like that, we've reached the final country of the video, the United Kingdom. And many say that Great Britain and the United Kingdom are the same thing. But in reality, they would be dead wrong. Why? Here's why. Great Britain just includes England, Scotland, and Wales. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom consists of England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and all of the other overseas territories. Another stereotype is that the United Kingdom drinks the most tea. But no, not everyone is a tea fanatic in the UK. Now, some British people do enjoy a good cup of tea, but coffee is just as popular here as well. It's also third when talking about tea consumption, only being beaten a kilogram or two by Turkey and Ireland. So that concludes the first part of Europe. But don't worry, we'll be back with more. As always, thanks for watching. Please do consider liking the video and subscribing if you're enjoying this series. So, with that being said, we'll see you in the next of Earth Basics.